Welcome to the Old Souls and Seekers podcast, brought to you by Satori Prime. If you're anything like us, you've been around and around the personal development and mindset block quite a few times. You've read the books, watched the videos, attended the seminars, and even worked with a coach or two, and yet you still find yourself searching for more. You may even feel stuck or that you should be farther along than where you are right now. And after doing over a decade of mindset work, we've come to this realization. Mindset work is like a small hit of dopamine that distracts you from your true work. You get these little hits of feeling better, only to be met with the same underlying conditions and patterns over and over again. Now, mindset was an important part of your evolution as well as ours, but it hits a plateau, and now you find yourself ready for that deeper layer of growth and expansion. If you're listening to this podcast, then you're ready to get off that Ferris wheel. This podcast is only for those that are ready to dive deep and do the real inner healing work. For those that are ready to move past more information into actual experiences. If you're looking for more understanding, then you've come to the wrong place. This is a home for old souls ready to fully embrace and remember who they truly are. Ready to make a profound difference in their lives and in the lives of others. So welcome home, dear one. We're excited to be part of your journey. All right. Well, there's a bunch more in here now. Guys, so listen, we're really sorry. That's
amazing.
It's been a little bit outside of our hands. We're having, obviously, technical issues with this new webinar service. What we tried to do was to make it really easy and seamless, which is to have one registration for everybody. And you'd have to register once, and then every week you would get a notification that says, the webinar is coming up. Doesn't that seem like it would be really easy if we did that? And for whatever reason, it's just been sending out expired links the last 2 weeks. We don't know why. I re-registered, I think, for a webinar. Now everybody has my name. So this is like being John Malkovich right now. Malkovich. So do me a favor for this particular webinar, so I don't lose my silly little mind. Just put at your name before you type something, because now it just looks like I'm speaking to myself and I have 18 voices, which is
crazy,
which is reasonably accurate to how it is. So what I think we're going to do is we will remove, just for anybody who watches this, which is not a lot of you guys because we keep fucking this up. What we will probably do in the future is we will get rid of the in perpetuity. So that's clearly not working. We will have a weekly registration. You guys will register for a weekly. And that's that. I don't know what to do about the thing. We messaged their support. They're not helpful. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad this test is going well, but there's a bunch of people here. So what's up, y'all? It's good to be with you.
And so many Guy Ferdmans. So I don't even know what to do with myself right now.
I'm uncomfortable in my body. We might have to meditate on this. And I just wanted to congratulate, everybody who's new in the community. I really wanted to congratulate all of you guys who jumped on the MMI training. That's been a really awesome shift and having a lot more people come into this community than we've had in the past, which feels really, 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 really wonderful, and a lot of beautiful growth in the community. So if you are in that program, by the way, again, please make sure you're in the Facebook group. We'd love to hear your experience with it. Like, we just launched that program in these last 30 days or so. And it's shifting a lot about how we bring people into the community and how we're growing in this community as well. And the intention slowly is going to be as more people come through the MMI program, is that instead of these just being Tuesday live streams, these will be like Tuesday tune-ups for people who are going through the training. You guys can ask questions and we can kind of have more well-rounded conversations and less about me and Ilan being kind of preachy about this work, which may or may not happen in your experience. I don't know. Hopefully these are really valuable to you. And really you guys coming with like, here's what's coming up for me as I do this program, and us kind of looking at different questions and like really grappling with what's so inside of the community. Right. And something I just want to tell you that we've noticed for many years now is that like there seems to be like kind of an energetic theme in humanity at all times. Unfortunately, right now it seems like a little bit of a dark period, and I don't mean that on the whole, but certainly around us and the people who are either clients of ours right now, have been clients of ours, or are coaching within our community. There just seems to be a lot of health crisis type stuff going on right now. Either there was a lot, like either deaths in the family or people in the hospital. There's just been a lot of that as of late. So if something like that's going on around you, just know that there always seems to be like a greater theme in the community, and like people going through similar challenges at the same time. And if you're in that situation, then our heart goes out to you, and we know how difficult those kind of experiences are, and also can be beautiful learning experiences if you allow them to be. these names, man, are killing me.
This is wild.
This is so crazy. So if you are somebody who's not in MMI yet for any particular reason, MMI stands for Millionaire Mindset Immersive Immersion. I can't even keep the name straight anymore. There's so many names. Millionaire Mindset Immersion. It's a really potent program. It's a great way to get into our ethos, to get some super high level, valuable coaching and training that's far from going to break the bank. We really built this so that pretty much everybody who has a desire to help themselves in some way, shape, or form can take advantage of the 15 to 20 years that Ilan and I have put in the personal development space and coaching space. And you can just learn from us, hopefully, and not go through all the painstaking mistakes that Ilan and I have made over the years in terms of trying to transform different aspects of our life and grappling with so many different type of things and ultimately, coming to grips with what actually works. And so in everything that we do here, we try to get down to and boil down to the simplest things that we can that are highly effective, so that you're not just spinning your wheels and wasting your time. Like, for example, if you learn about affirmations, you sit there and you affirm to yourself 3,000 times a day, this, that, and the other. Does that have a positive impact? I believe it definitely does. Just putting energy into the field and creating intention and focusing your mind on positive things in your life can certainly help. But is it going to resolve everything and have your life work out and your mind suddenly working differently? I'm hard pressed to believe that that's true. So we want to look at, when you build a house, you don't just get 2x4s. Just throw them into a pile and I got a house, right? It doesn't work that way. You get the 2x4s, you get the nails, you got the sheetrock, you got the insulation and the concrete. You have a variety of different tools and methodologies that you put together that at the end of the day form a house that allow for you to feel safe, right? And all that kind of stuff. And building, if you want to think of it as like a foundation and scaffolding in a home within yourself so that you can feel safe and transform and create well-being in your life, is the same thing. There's a variety of things that when they come together, create this beautiful picture of transformation. And that doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination that all of life's challenges go away.
They don't?
They don't. And we don't promise, we never promise this to anybody. And I think if anybody's promising that your life is all going to work out, instantaneously, that's just silly. Because everything takes time. Everything takes mastery. Can you make a lot of headway in a short period of time? Absolutely. Is that going to resolve everything? Not a guarantee. Is it going to help? Yeah. But can we predict that you're never going to have a hardship in your life anymore? Can we predict that everything is always going to be easy? Can we predict that you're not going to be surprised tomorrow when you wake up by potentially something really good or potentially something really hazardous in your life? Impossible. This work is not about dehumanizing us. It's about creating you and embracing your humanity to such a depth that you love your humanity at such a high level that you're less concerned with what's arising in your life, because you know that you can meet yourself, how you show up facing that circumstance and the circumstance itself and other people surrounding it or connected to that circumstance in a loving, compassionate way, where you no longer feel like the sky is falling every time there's a little bit of a hiccup, right? And that's what transformation it really is. It's really meeting yourself. It's really meeting the circumstances from an awareness that allows for you to see the greatest potential in that opportunity, and allows for you to play and to dance and to like even almost have like a sense of humility and laughter about what your human machine does when it's concerned about things, which is natural. And you want your human machine to be concerned about stuff. You know, again, like we have people right now who just dealt with deaths in the family, or who are dealing with people like, you know, parents in the family. And it would be ridiculous if they weren't upset about that, or sad about that, or grieving about that, right? Like that would be scary to me if they weren't. And we just got off our coaches training, and like the most beautiful thing to hear is this community that's come together, and the way that they support each other through these experiences. And person after person who's in one of these experiences right now was just saying like how valuable the community is, how valuable it is to be able to reach out and be met, to have people sit with you and presence you and give you, give you their awareness in those moments, because that's really the healing at the end of the day. That's what does the healing. It's the way that we sit with each other. It's the way that we show up with each other. It's the way you sit with yourself more than anything else here. And, you know, the community aspect partly is influenced by me and Ilan, and greatly, majorly, mostly not, as it should be. P.S. You know, like the world of tomorrow is a self-sustained community where people care enough and are so vibrant in their own experience that they can come out of their own experience and participate and realize that healing is an interpersonal journey. Transformation is an interpersonal journey. And it's also something that we get to come together as a collective and participate in together to amplify greatly the power of that. And that's something that Ilan and I have been as much bystanders of watching that get created as we have participated in lightly guiding it. And the reality is no two people on this planet are know-it-alls or have all the answers for everything. There are people way smarter than Ilan and myself in every facet of life, and you'll be hard to come by people who are more committed to their growth than people like me and Ilan. There are other people out there for sure, but they're not that many. And that, if anything, makes us special. We're not special human beings, but like what you are committed to in your life is what makes you special, right? Like that is legitimately what makes every single one of us a special human being, is like, what are we giving our time to? What are we giving our resource to? What are we committing our lives to? And then how is that impacting us? And how is that impacting the whole and people around you? And that's really what we're committed to here as people, and hopefully as the self-expression of our organization, and that it grows. And we intend to hold the integrity of that all the way through. Is there anything you wanted to?
I was just reading Ash's comments about her relationship with grandma, and how if she hadn't done this work, she doesn't know where she would have been. And that's kind of what we were talking about on the coaches training today. Is I was just relaying that I'm just so grateful for having this type of education in our lives. I'm currently at my in-laws' house, and my mother-in-law is going through a really, really tough bout of depression, and doesn't have these tools, right? Like just never learned. And she's 70 this year, and has dealt with bouts of depression. This is like the third or fourth time that something like this has happened. And at each turn, she turned to medication, and the medication numbed it just enough and got her just enough to baseline. And, she took it from there. But it's like that proverb where, God will send, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, will send you lessons. Right. And at first it could be like a little kitty cat that comes and like licks your ankle and is like, hi, pay attention. And if you don't pay attention, then, God will send a really big dog. And if you don't pay attention, then comes a lion. And if you don't pay, and it just keeps getting more and more intense, because at the end of the day, your soul came to this physical human realm to learn, to grow, to expand. And one way or another, we're all going to learn these lessons. That's the thing. It's like, and I think most of our audience, I would say, is in the, they're not like 15, 16, 20 years old. Most of our audience is probably 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, right? So like you've had enough life experience to see, hopefully, that what I'm sharing with you is true. Like that's how it's kind of happened in your life. The same things keep showing up, but they're more intense than they were before. And if you don't choose to learn your lessons and gain tools and abilities early on in the process, then the next time that wave comes, you're going to be taken under. The work that we do, at the different levels is there's kind of two schools that we look at. And something that I said to my family just this past weekend, I said, everyone thinks or looks out into life and goes, oh, this is it. Like, this is the end all be all. Like, this is the thing that I found. And I can tell you, after 20 plus years of personal development, what I've come to is the realization that nothing is it. Everything is just another puzzle piece to the greater picture. And if you treat a puzzle piece like it's the end all be all, you're going to end up being disappointed. Everything is just another puzzle piece that gives you access to the greater and greater picture. So when I first started doing mindset work and, things like NLP and reframing and understanding how the mind works, I thought that was it. I figured out life. This is the end all be all. But you know what? Life sent me something. I call it a gift wrapped kick in the nuts, but it sent a lesson my way where those tools that I thought that I had all of them that I needed, all of a sudden couldn't help me get through that. And rather than beat myself up or, go down that whole rabbit hole, I was like, all right, time to up level, time to learn new things. And that has happened time and time and time again. And eventually I got to this place where I was like, you know what? I'm going to collect a lot of puzzle pieces. And what we teach here, just so you guys know, is 20 years each. So me 20 years plus, Guy 20 years plus, $1 million plus between the two of us. And every single day of those 20 years, putting things into practice. Testing, iterating, and then starting to, after we've seen it work in our lives, start to share and trickle certain things to either certain clients or friends or family for them to test it. And only after we've quantified that these things actually work, doesn't matter how old you are, what religious beliefs you have, man, woman, you're in this part of the globe or that part of the globe, only after we've tested it on a small sample case and we're like, all right, this works, then we go to the next group and the next group. So the things like what Guy was talking about, the Millionaire Mindset Immersion, that's 20 years of homologated puzzle pieces that we're offering to someone to be like, this is the most effective things that we've found in the last 20 years. That's what you're really buying. You're buying the shortcut to us having read all the books, us having gone on all these experiences, us having paid all these coaches, right? Like that's the thing. Yeah. And if you just get that, like every one of these things is a puzzle piece that you're now creating to find out the picture of your life, you don't know which puzzle piece is going to be the one that you need and when you're going to need it.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah.
And hopefully you've not just like listened to things, but put them into practice. Everything sounds good in a book. Everything sounds good in a video. And everything sounds good and works when your life is humming along and working. You know when I'm truly grateful for these things? When life throws me off. when I feel like I just got flipped upside down or someone hit me with a baseball bat to the face, that's when I truly know how much work I've done. Because you've heard this a million times. It's not about getting knocked down. It's how you get back up. I'm going to say it differently. I think life throws things at you to get you off kilter, off balance. How quickly you can find center, alignment, and balance again is truly the work that you've done. And the more stress that you have put yourself under, right, to keep strengthening that muscle, keep strengthening that ability, when the big wave comes, and it will come, because it's always come, right? Like, it's just how life is. When that big wave comes, how quickly can you find that anchor point within? How many puzzle pieces do you have that will go into autopilot to bring you to that place? And that is the outcome of how many years of day in, day out practices you have done to create that strength. That's it. There's no magic pill. You know, like I said, my mother-in-law is going through some shit. And even her psychiatrist, thank God, is like, I don't know what you're expecting. Like, you're expecting that you're going to take like some combination of pills and all of a sudden you're going to wake up and like be great again? No. There's some stuff underneath that you've been avoiding for 70 years. That's the work now. And it's day in, day out. And there's going to be days that you feel a little bit better and days that you're going to feel a little bit worse. What I think we do here that is profoundly different than anywhere else that you're going to go is our motto is, once you're here, you no longer have to do this stuff on your own. And that's the thing, like, part of me, and I'm going to be very, very honest with you right now, part of me is afraid that because we've put out a program like Millionaire Mind Immersion and Primary Abundance and things like that, which are digital products, is that people are going to treat these digital products like, again, like the end all be all. And I'm telling you right now, someone's done this work for 20 plus years without community, without accountability, like, you're not going to produce the results that you want. And you know how I know that? Because you're a human. And we will weasel our way out of everything. We are inherently lazy as just the beingness. And then more than that, like, the things that you want to touch, you can understand by doing stuff on your own. But like, when it goes to actually touching and liberating and healing those things, you have to sit with another being. You have to. Like, there's no program on planet Earth that can get you to touch those places and heal those things on your own. You can understand them. You can figure out why you are the way you are or how it happened or all that stuff. But when it comes to healing, this is where we need another. And if you think about it, like, way back in the day, how did we live? We all lived inside a community. We didn't do anything on our own. Like, I'm talking, you know, way back in the day, right? We all lived in community. There were a group of men that went to hunt. There were a group of women that cooked. There were a group of women that went and gathered. There were people that were, you know, breaking down animals to make jackets or weaving baskets. Like, women were taking care of other people's kids. Like, we lived in a community. And so when you were going through something, the community was going through something and supported you out of that thing. Now we're all in front of computers, on phones, living our own lives, listening to our own podcasts, watching our own videos, reading our own books, and wondering why life isn't where we want it to be. We are not meant, human beings are not meant as animals to be alone. Like, we're not. And I think the pendulum has swung so far the other way. And now, if you can kind of like feel and track what's happening, is like, people are wanting, they're seeking community. I think COVID made us like, you know, it was like the pendulum swung so deep in that direction where we were like cut off from everyone. And now we're yearning for it. So like, when you join one of our programs, I don't want you to think of like, I'm joining one of your programs. It's like, you're joining a family. a soul family, a community, a group of souls who, just like you, are investigating and are curious about what it means to be human. I was talking to someone the other day, like, there's so many people in the woo-woo space, and they're all like, I just want to be spiritually enlightened, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, that's where we come from. We come from that world of spiritual light and enlightenment. Why? Why would that soul who lives in that space where everything is light and God and good and peace and everything, right? Why would that soul choose to come here? To have an enlightened experience? Maybe it's like to have a profoundly deep and meaningful human experience. We're not about like tapping you out of what this is. It's actually tapping you more into what this is so that you can intermarry the world of the 5D, the spirituality, and bring it deep, deep into this place so that you can be the best mother, father, husband, wife, partner, brother, sister. That's where we're at. I don't know about you. None of you are living in a cave in the Himalayas somewhere in a silent retreat. You have jobs and lives and stresses and payments to make. And this is it. And you don't have to live this existence in victimhood or in why this is happening to me hood, or, constantly being berated or stressed or overwhelmed. Just because everyone around you lives that way does not mean that you have to live that way. None of us have to live that way. Now, to break rank and go and learn different things and do different things, that takes courage. And that's why, Guy and I just honor every single person that invests in themselves and walks down this path. Because it takes tremendous amount of courage to look what's under the hood and see the aspects of yourself that you don't want to see, let alone want anybody else to see. And only when you're willing to go do that is where the liberation and your freedom lies. You can't avoid these things. You can't hide from these things. You can't bury them in a closet. We've all tried. They will all come back to bite you in the ass. So it's like puzzle piece one, understanding how the mind works. And by the way, the mind is not the brain. I know we use these words, but the brain is what runs the body. It's a physiological thing. It makes you breathe. It moves all these things. The mind is something totally different. The mind is the thing that is constantly yapping at you all day, every day. And it's not nice, right? So you'd want to, step one, understand that, right? Then once you understand that, what if you realized that awareness is actually watching through your mind, because awareness is stuck in here. And if you actually learn to shift awareness out, that you would be unhooked from your ordinary mind and you can actually watch it, not be it. That would be a great step two, right? Another puzzle piece. And then once you realize that, it's what if I actually move awareness from here into here? And you start to realize that this body of yours has the most intuitive, incredible abilities to heal itself without understanding, without going back to your traumas, without going back to, oh, mom did this to me or dad wasn't there. Without doing any of that, you can actually heal with awareness, this stuff. And then that would be another puzzle piece, right? And then from there, you're oh, well, if awareness can do that here, what else can awareness do? And now you start placing awareness on your finances, on your health, on your relationships, on other. And then all of these miracles begin to happen. You're I'm not doing anything. How is all this happening? Puzzle piece, puzzle piece, puzzle piece, puzzle piece. Practice consistently, practice consistently. That's how you get out of this trap that you think you're in. It's not that hard. Granted, I will tell you that there are a lot of windy ass roads that will get you, off some path over there. But like, if you want a very coherent, simple, easy to follow way, just like start walking down this journey. We will handhold you through the entire process, and wherever you are in the process, we can meet you there. However fast you want to get to the promised land, we can get you there. But get off this notion that there's this one thing out there that's going to save you. Like, it doesn't fucking exist.
I agree. So where do we go from here? So
I wasn't reading the comments. So
yeah.
I don't know if there's any questions or anything like that.
Yeah. So if you guys, for those of you guys who are wanting to get your beak wet, your toes wet, you want to figure out, how you can participate in what we're doing here. That's what's changed here, is like how you can get started. Up until now, our lowest end program is in the thousands of dollars. We recently launched a Millionaire Mindset Immersion, which anybody could pick up for fraction of a cost, right? Super high value. Like I said, you can go to soulsandseekers.com/MMI, like Mary Indigo, and check out that program and see if it suits you and it's a fit for you. There's some other opportunities there to participate in some other programs and live events if you so choose, but that's a really good first soiree into our work. And I would, by the amount of people that have jumped on it and the feedback that we've gotten from it, it's tremendously valuable. And I highly recommend that you pick that up if you already don't have it. And like Ilan said, right, like this is a conglomeration of work. It's not one particular thing. Ilan and I are not proponents of teaching a 3-step process that works for everybody, because humans are not that simple. We are very complex biological machinery, and different people just need different type of attunements. Ilan and I have been through a lot of courses where people portray a certain process and they're like, oh, this is going to work. And I'm like, yeah, it works for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. And there's so many different aspects to human being. There's our mindset, there's our emotional body, there's our energetic body, there's our soul's desires, right? There's our connections with ourselves and others. And all these different aspects of a human being have slightly different variations in how we have to approach it. The way we approach the mind is not the way we approach our emotional and energetic body. So it could be schools. Are schools upon themselves, right? So if you've been curious and sitting on the sidelines, like, we certainly teach the mindset piece, and we think it's wildly important to integrate awareness and energetics work into mindset. A lot of people think of awareness as becoming aware within the mind. There's certainly some truth to that, but awareness in itself is being able to locate and modulate into different layers and levels of mind that have completely different qualities than the mind that most people live through. The reality is, for most people on this planet right now, and it's why many people need to be given a break and be given a pass, is that the only way we've been taught to learn or conditioned to learn, whether it's purposefully or just done by complete ignorance and negligence, is through a certain type of conditioning. Okay, this conditioning is located somewhere back here between these eyes. And I could tell you there is a whole other way to experience this world. However, if you are not aware of the needs of this mind, of what it's trying to do and how it's trying to create it, and you don't have some capacity to bring yourself to a point where you can witness what the mind is doing, in my opinion, you will be forever trapped by the very complex workings of your mind. Okay, like the first thing that any of us need to learn how to do, besides how to run a webinar without your name showing up a million times over and over again, is to fuck. It's just like Guy Ferdman. Guy Ferdman says, I'm like, what is Guy Ferdman saying? That's good, Guy Ferdman. Good job, Guy Ferdman. Malkovich. Is to be able to observe and listen to your mind, to be able to observe and listen to your emotional state in your body. We call this a subtle witness, right? So like, you all know you have that little voice in your head. Science calls that sub-vocalization. But let's just call it the little voice for simplicity, because who gives a shit about scientific terminology, right?
And it's like, so if you haven't recognized that you have an ability to listen to your thoughts, then the automatic response is to be merged with the thoughts. And there is now no separation between that which witnesses thought and the thought in itself. And then so every thought takes you on a ride. Your nature, your reality becomes the pervasive, spontaneous rising of random thoughts that you have no control over. Like, try to control your thoughts. Try to tell your brain what to think or what not to think. It is literally an impossibility, because life and our thoughts are part of what we call an emergent phenomenon. They are just emerging, the same way that clouds emerge in the sky. We can figure out the science behind all that, sure, or have some contemplations on how that happens. Sure, we could do the same thing with our mind. We can philosophize. Where are these thoughts coming from? Why are they here? How do they get formed? Great, now you have philosophy. Are the thoughts still coming? Are the clouds still forming? No benefit to you whatsoever. And so a lot of people spend much of their life in the philosophical pursuit of understanding what's happening, doing very little for actually working with those systems. Philosophizing I love to philosophize. I think it's a fun speculative exercise. And the reality is, I know you want to change your life. I know you want to have juicy relationships. I know you want to get your health in order. I know that you want to feel great when you wake up in the morning. I know that you want to feel great even when the circumstances suck. Okay? The only way to do that, to the degree that Ilan and I can understand, is to fully embrace and surrender into what's happening. Now, that is an easy, quote, concept to understand. Try, as you might, to put that into your life. Surrender to everything that's happening all the time. That fucking takes courage. Letting go. Let me maximize myself. You got some maximize time. I'm going to go maximize now. Completely letting go and trusting that your soul, however we want to call this thing, the soul, the universe, God, divine intelligence, your angels, your ancestry, I think it all plays a role here, right? There's a purpose in what's happening. Even in the worst of what we see in humanity, there's a purpose to that as part of an overall evolutionary plan that allows for this machine to awaken itself consistently into higher and higher levels and states of consciousness until complete liberation happens, whatever that means to this human mind, right? Like, because maybe even once we liberate ourselves and all become Buddhas on the planet, we're gonna be like, fuck, there's another mountain to climb. That's probably what's gonna happen, right? Like, truly, like, if we all become enlightened tomorrow, we're all gonna be like, that's hilarious. Just starting again now. Pick up the shovel, start digging. I don't think there's an end to this game. The line that we've said for a long time is stop trying to make yourself feel better and simply get better at feeling. In my view, that encapsulates the whole game. You want to live a life of pleasure, then learn how to feel through the challenges of life instead of being completely defended. Ilan mentioned his mother-in-law and how difficult of an experience she's going through. That's a defended human. That's a person that's unwilling to be with the experience that life has provided. And so you suffer. Yeah, and so you suffer.
She has to be. Like you got to get, because it's very difficult to stay undefended, what Michael Singer calls like open-hearted, when life is beating you down, right? Like, sure. That's why it's so much better to practice these things when you're in like a normal state, right? Because that wave is coming. And if you can learn to like keep your heart open in the day-to-day stuff, when the big stuff happens and it comes like the force, you have the tools to be able to maintain that. And she had none of it because she never practiced.
Yeah. And so that's the game, right? We want to be able to open ourselves. If you really think about how you came into this world, you came into this world undefended. Prove me wrong. Now, even your birthing process may have been traumatizing for you. That happens. We have a weird way of bringing children into this world. currently that's very disconnected from heart. People get very traumatized at birth. That stays with you somewhere in the system, in the hippocampus, right? Like this stuff just lingers. And we think, oh, I don't remember that. Okay, you don't remember that. Your body does. And it has an effect on your life. And that impact has an energetic output. That energetic output is creating a reality. That reality is creating some conditioning in here. That conditioning is creating the experience of life that you have. If you can't observe all that, and you have the capacity to do that, and you're just merged into your experience, instead of noticing terror, you're terrified. There's a difference between experiencing anger, experiencing sadness, experiencing grief, or just grieving, or just anger. You know, a lot of, like, it's funny, we learned this a long time ago. We had this mentor at some point in time that said, the way that we use language is like, I'm angry, as if to say I've become the being of anger. She goes, but that's no more right than saying I am shoe. You can have a shoe. You can experience a shoe just the same way you can have anger and you can experience anger, but you can't be anger. You can't be angry. It would be way more accurate if right now I'm noticing I'm angry, or right now I'm experiencing anger moving through me. And then you'll notice that something happens when you even language it like that, is it does create even a subtle little bit of space for you to say, whoa, the machine is experiencing something. Let me observe what the machine is experiencing. Now, what I'm saying here is extremely simple. And to put it into practice takes a lot of commitment, because you need repetition. Because the game, the way this reality is set up, the illusion is so alluring. You know, this what do they call it when it's a video game? Oh, the simulation looks so real. It's so alluring. It's going to pull you in again. And just like me and Ilan and everybody I've ever worked with, you're going to need a reminder to remind you that you can be the one that watches and observes and listens and feels through. And if you do that enough times, I'm not saying that's going to happen tomorrow, but like if you have a true commitment to your liberation, which I think is the primary purpose for any human being on this planet, period. Again, that's my story. You can take it, you can leave it, right? But if that's what we're here for, then the number one thing, if you want to better your experience, is learning how to be with what is unfolding in your life, and just understanding that if the stories are true and the mythology is real, and I believe that it is, that all things are sourced from love. We make a mistake when we think, oh, this negative event is happening. That's not love. It's not true. Nothing escapes love. God is love, source is love, whatever you want to call it. Universe is love. It is. But just because a human being put some moral importance on one thing, it took moral importance, like being alive is more important than being dead, right? That's like an easy moral conjecture to get to. Does it mean it's absolutely true? I don't think the universe gives a shit about that. Plants are dying and coming and going all the time. Animals are coming and going all the time. But the consciousness that's behind it is still sourced from love. Otherwise, life wouldn't even exist anymore, right? This is a way for things to recycle themselves. This is a way for us to renew ourselves. Imagine you were in this body all the time in the same suffering endlessly. That seems discompassionate, right? So what I'm talking about here, and again, I know we're talking hugely in esoterics today, and it doesn't seem very grounded, but I want to give you just like the overall feeling and picture of what Ilan and I work on so diligently. And it's not hard work, because again, this work is simple. It just requires you to show up often. You know, like we say this a lot, but you can't eat one salad a week and expect to be in good health.
Yeah.
You can't expect to go to the gym once a month and expect that your body's going to be healthy or look great. That's ridiculous, right? You got to have a commitment to your health, especially in a world today where 65% of foods are ultra processed or not even real food. Chemicals are fucking everywhere. Electro radiation is all around you. More than ever, it's become important to make sure that your body temple is like as pristine as it can be, so that it has the ability to ward off all this crap and detox itself as much as it possibly can. Maybe that's why all this is happening in the first place, is to put attention back on our vessels and be like, hey, look, you want to live in this world? You got to be prime. You got to take care of this. You got to focus on what's important. Focus on your inner world. Focus on making sure that your body can receive support and energy and can run a lot of energy through it. And then you'll be fine. All these things that impact other people, they could impact you, but probably not as much as they're going to impact everybody else. And recognizing that this evolutionary process is ongoing. And as much as human beings want to freeze time and pretend that we have control of things, we don't. The process is going to continue to go, and human beings will not be the last sentient beings or at the apex of all sentience. So we get to give up and just say, hey, look, this is something we work on a lot in our live event, by the way. We do a big display on this to kind of talk about how do we approach this? Are we going to participate in this evolutionary process? Or are we going to pretend that it ended with us? And that now we need to compete and fight against everything else that's not this. And I want you, and I'm saying that at the macro level, but if you notice, you're doing that inside of your body with everything. Because the things from your past that you don't like, you still haven't surrendered to. The way mom and dad treated you when you were a kid, or the way it was in high school, or whatever it might have been, right? And I didn't have like an easy go of it at that period of time in my life, so I can relate. Like, I've had to find so much compassion for the little me that went through those traumas.
Yeah.
I've had to find so much compassion for the big me that wants life to be easy and flowy and good and all that kind of stuff. And like, all those things still arise from time to time in my system. The only difference is between what we're doing here and how most people are living is we have definite practices that allow for us to support daily practices and people around us and community around us that support in the health of our inner world, what we call energetic hygiene. We know how to stabilize our system. We know how to create alignment. We know how to downregulate our nervous system when we need to. We know how to resource our body. We know how to recognize when we've fallen out of that and we're in a certain process. And we know then not to take action in our life when we're in a process. And for a lot of you guys, when you're having trouble and you're floundering and life is not going well, it's because you're acting from an energy that, as you amplify and sit in that energy and act from that energy, you continue to amplify that energy and create more hardship in your life. So hardship could have been this small, but when you act from there, it gets this big. It's like the first thing we teach at our level 2 work, module 1, we're like, hey, you want things to stay like this instead of going like this? Here's what you do about that. Here's how you play that game. Right? And those are the things that allow for us to take stepping stones and move and accelerate rather quickly through our evolution, because we're participating with what's happening and what's emerging and unfolding, instead of having a moral opinion that was given to us through our conditioning, through our culture, or through our religion, or whatever it might be, and says, this is not good. Okay, fine. Philosophically interesting. But like, again, where's the value in your life? You're the one that's suffering. The only way out of suffering is through. The only way out of suffering is to surrender. Okay? How we go about that, that's what this work gives you, the different processes, vantage points, different things that you can look at in your life and say, oh, okay, when that happens, here's how I can work that puzzle in a way that brings me to more of a holistic experience, more love in my life, more connection in my life, more health in my life. And at the end of the day, that's what I want for my life. You get to determine what's important for you. But like, I'm here to fucking liberate myself. And I understand that this is not a one lifetime game that I'm playing either. So I'm already playing for other lifetimes that I'm going to come back. I am under no disillusionment that this is the last go for me, whether in this body or a different body on a different planet or this planet. But my consciousness is eternal and infinite. Right? What did I just read? Hold on, I want to just get this right. I actually think it was on Joe Rogan's thing. I love Mr. Joe. I want to read this to you super quick if I can find it. It is. Thank you. Thank you, brain, for memories. Okay, this is not Joe writing this. This is from a phys.org headline. New research puts age of universe at 26.7 billion years, nearly twice as old as previously believed. Okay, it's hard to imagine what a billion is, okay? For those of you guys that want to imagine what a billion years is, love this thing. 1 million seconds, 1 million seconds is about 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 33 years, right? So we just doubled what we thought the universe is. And this is what Joe writes about it. I have chills. I haven't even read it yet, just the energy behind it. What's crazy is 13.7 billion years is really beyond our grasp of understanding already. And now they're thinking the universe could be twice as old. How long before new research and new technology doubles that again? How long before they figure out there was no beginning? We concentrate on some pretty stupid shit here on Earth. And meanwhile, we're flying through an infinite universe that's right above our head as we cling to our organic convertible starship. Sometimes I wonder if the reason why we pay attention to so much nonsense is because the vastness of it all is just too uncomfortable for our evolving minds. Mic drop. So beautiful. And so like I can relate to you in the same token where he's talking about, like our measurements of everything is always based on the scientific technology that we have in this moment in time. But what changes the measurement is new technology. And every time we get new technology, the measurements get beyond our comprehension. And there's a leading school right now that's measured like the amplification of the heart. And I think it was like the most they measured it is like that your heart field goes out about 24 feet around your body. Okay. And they asked them, do you think that's as big as it goes? They said, no, we think it's infinite. We said, we just don't have the measurement tools to measure that it is. So one of the callings here is we can try to think our way out of the problems that we're in. I don't know about you guys, but we've invested many times, many centuries trying to do that and coming to some philosophical understanding. And the reality is at any given time, that understanding is changing, moving, and variable because everything is evolving. And at the other end, I want to tell you is that we have this incredible tool that we've been giving that can feel into this experience of being alive at depths that is probably unmeasurable by anything that we ever come out with, but you can train yourself to feel into much deeper levels. I'm not saying all of it because I don't know what that would even mean, but feel into much deeper layers in your system that will give you a clearer depiction of what is actually directly happening in your life. And not because you have language for it, understand it, but because you have the ability now to feel it as it's occurring. And that unveils a very different quality of life than what most people on this planet are currently living. Try not to make yourself feel better. Just get better at feeling through what you don't want to feel, and you will be free. That's how I'm done for today.
Love you all. Thanks for dealing with us with all the tech issues. We'll, as what's his name? Wilbon says, we'll try to do better next time.
Try to do better next time. We'll be just mildly less disappointing next time. Okay. We love you guys. We'll try to work on it.
Love you guys. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, dear one, for choosing to share a bit of your day with us. We value you greatly. And as a way to give back and help you to deepen these practices, we want to invite you to join our incredible community on Facebook. You can do so easily by going to joinoldsouls.com and ask for an invite. This is our private community where old souls and seekers are able to grow and share their journey with others. We hold exclusive weekly live streams, we answer your personal questions, and offer valuable insights that we won't be able to share here on the podcast. So again, just head to joinoldsouls.com and grab your invite today. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, please head to iTunes and leave us a review. It's the only way other people can find this show. So if it's making a difference in your life, please share the love. Until we meet again, have an amazing week, dear one.